Good morning. How are you doing today, Carole?
Arrow, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on the show. This is wonderful.
First and foremost, only because I am such a big listener of you, you can cuss on this show. You let it loose.
Oh my God, I can. This is so fucking great. I love it. I love it. It's really hard for me to refrain,
Oh, I love it when you let words fly, because it's like, I'll sit there and I'll go, oh, she's showing her passion. She's showing her emotions. I love this.
Oh, that's great. Thank you for the permission.
Another thing that we need to talk about right away, because I want listeners to really dig deep into something that you promote on your podcast, and that is DNA Doe Project. What is it? How can they get involved? Because you're on a mission. In fact, I think it's even bigger than a mission. I think you've been called to do this.
Yeah, gosh, you are so kind to let us talk about DNA Doe. They've been an amazing collaborator in season 2. Raul Montero. You can find him on Facebook. I follow him. He's just a fabulous man. He established this not-for-profit organization back in 2017. He's dedicated to using this investigative genetic genealogy, and he helps identify John and Jane Does. And he's just an amazing man. He's just committed, passionate. Every day, it's so sad. I mean, every day he's posting these people that are not found and or that he has identified, he and the volunteers, so people can reach out and get involved with him. It's an amazing organization.
I was so impressed with the way that you set up season 2, because for people that either are just discovering it or need to be updated, I mean, you really put a lot of focus on take that 1 or 2 steps back. Now let's get on.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Season 1, I mean, look, we came together to solve a crime, us amateur girlfriend, sleuth detectives, and we're really proud of that. And, a big shout out to my dear friend, Mindy Shapiro, who's a physician. She took a lead role in the investigation from the West Coast. And then in season 2, Anna Sinfield from Novel and her team took a lead role in the second season. But, my heart goes out to Alayne Katz, the sister of Gail Katz, who we identified as the murdered woman in season 1. She's passionate and committed to helping everyone find unidentified people and bringing peace to those families.
Well, I can't imagine the years that went by and the wrong body is in the ground. I just can't imagine that, and how that must have been so heavy on the family. Was it not? What are we going to do? I don't know what I'm going to do.
Oh my God. It was such a shit show.
Yeah.
For, for poor Alayne, here she is dealing with her sister, and now she's got to figure out, what do I do with this missing torso, or, this unidentified torso? And, my heart goes out to Alayne and her family. Alayne is this badass woman who just does the right thing for the right reasons. And she got very involved in season 2 to help bring justice and help bring a voice to the unidentified torso that we were calling Jane Doe. And I don't want to give away spoilers, but we do find out the identity of the torso. We tell her story, I think, in a beautiful way, in a way that really gives justice to this Jane Doe against this horror that was just sickening and unjust end to her life. And the listeners can hear Dr. Mindy Shapiro. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they're going to hear Anna Sinfield, and they're going to hear from Alayne. And people just love Alayne. She's got a fierce voice, a soft heart, and she's just badass. I tell her all the time, she's just a badass.
And no matter what, when you go to Alayne's house, you have to eat the food. I mean, it doesn't matter what's on that table, you got to eat the food.
Oh my God, eat the food and drink the wine. Okay, so we show up at her house and, this past November, and we all have wine. She's got wine. We have way too much food, and, we're Jewish. So what do? We eat and we drink and we have fun. And, what I love about Alayne is that I can cry with Alayne and I can laugh with Alayne. And I know Anna and Mindy and all of us feel the same. So she's just an amazing woman. I do want to do a shout out to No More, because No More we partnered with in season 1. And there are so many women, 1 in 3, experience domestic violence at some point during their lives, and 1 in 4 men experience domestic violence at some point in their lives. And almost daily, I get contacted through my social media channels about thanking me for providing a voice, for encouraging, to ask for help. So nomore.org, I just need to put a shout out to them, because if you're experiencing domestic violence and or you need resources, please reach out to them. Sorry about my voice.
You're fine. You're fine. Being natural is everything that you are. And I think that's the reason why I'm so tapped into the girlfriends, our lost sisters, the fact that everybody on there is themselves. You're not trying to pretend to be, a Ryan Seacrest or somebody like that. What you're on there doing is just being you.
That is so kind of you to say. I've gone on interviews and people are like, "Oh my gosh, you sound like yourself."
Yeah.
I'm like, I played myself. I had never listened to a podcast before.
Yeah.
And I thought maybe a couple thousand people would hear this podcast. I didn't realize millions of people would hear it. And I just performed me. So what you see is what you get. And I have a bad mouth, as you know. So, it was to my advantage that they allowed me to use my voice and my mouth during both season 1 and 2. And it's been just a privilege to be a voice for Gail and for the Jane Doe, that if people turn it into season 2, which I'm sure they will, so many people have, to be her voice too. And get to know her family. Oh my gosh, I should mention, we find her family. Mm-hmm. And get this, some of the family live 10 minutes away from my home outside of New Orleans. It's crazy freaking story. Just crazy.
See, that to me is the universe speaking, because I totally believe that all things are moving around us. And when they find an open person such as yourself, they're going to come tapping on your heart.
Oh my gosh, I love that you just said that. I am such a believer that the universe delivers. And I've got to believe that this woman that I'll still call Jane Doe, and Gail, they aligned it so that we all are richer and have better lives together. And I've become dear friends with this Jane Doe's family. They're just lovely, lovely people.
One of the things that was heavy on my heart as I was, experiencing the podcast is I kept going, Carole and the girls have got to be able to team up with a group of people to find out the big mystery of all of these indigenous women that are missing. I just feel like that the 4 of you have the balls to sit there and sit at it, drinking wine and having dinner and trying to figure out what other people cannot figure out.
Well, I have a day job, okay?
No, stop it.
I know, I can't believe it. And it has occurred to me that it's a calling, but I do have a day job and I do other work. Everything I do is around social impact, and I'm privileged for that. But I hear what you're saying, and you're not the first person to suggest that we continue in these endeavors. But there are no plans as of right now to help identify other missing women. But the girlfriends will continue with the new host each season.
Oh, wow.
And but I've been the voice, and the face for the first 2 seasons, and that's just been an incredible experience. And I'm excited to see what's next for the new hosts that solve crimes.
Oh my God! Because of course, my question is now: how do you relinquish it? I mean, because it's yours. You are the identity. You are that morning show host of a New York City radio station. You're that person.
Oh my gosh, you are so kind. Well, I let go with love. I'm always available. If iHeart and Novel want me back, I would always make myself available. And I know Mindy would too, and I know Alayne would too. But, there's different stories with different hosts, and I get it. And so I believe, like you said earlier, the universe has in store what it does, and we'll see where this goes.
Wow.
But I think season 3, I met the new host. She seems fabulous, and we'll see how she does. I can only imagine she'll rock it like we did.
One of the scenes that as a writer and a producer that I really loved inside season 2 was when you went up to Staten Island and there was that fence, and the way that you described that fence and that you were not going to let that fence get in the way. I laughed because you took me there like the way that the episodes of Radio Mystery Theater used to do. In other words, I saw it. I was driving in the frickin' car, but yet I saw what you were doing.
I'm so glad that you could visualize that. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
A fence? Really?
Yep.
Like this is going to get in our way now? We're the wire cutters. So, we do whatever we need to do. We are relentless women and we were on a mission. So fence or no fence, we were getting through, and we did. And it was a very tender, warm.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, it was really special being at that place. And I get chills just telling you about that because it moved my heart more than I can explain. It was life-changing.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, even when you arrive into that special spot, you knew that you were in that spot. And because I kept going, where are they going? Where are they going? Okay, we've all been on a wild goose chase before, but it's like when you guys got there, it was like, they're there. They're there. I can hear it in their voice. They're there.
Yeah. And to think that we're there and Jane Doe knows, I've got to believe that she knows that we're there. Yep. And we're putting our arms around her and including Gail and saying, we've got your back and we've got your voice. I felt that moment and I feel it now as I share that with you. Yeah.
Wow. So one of the things that listeners need to understand with the transition of the way the podcasts are going is that your podcast comes with transcripts. And I like that because when I miss something because I was halfway listening or I was, because I was driving, there was a car that was doing something really weird in front of me, I can go back to those transcripts and see exactly what you guys were doing. I think that is such an amazing thing that you're doing with iHeart.
Oh my gosh. Well, I didn't know there were transcripts.
Yes.
So,
it is such a great tool. It really, it helps me out.
That's fabulous. Oh, that's great. Here's the funny thing. I've never listened to a podcast before I did this, and I've never listened to one since. So I have not been on the site. So I'll have to check it out and look at the transcripts. Yeah. That's wonderful. So you don't miss anything. I love that.
You don't. And even as it's happening, what happens is it draws you even deeper into it because you guys are allowing the sounds of the atmosphere that you step into come alive. In other words, and I don't, I'm not going to sit here and say that, it's just a production library. I don't think so. I think you guys had microphones going at all times.
Well, I'll tell you, Anna Sinfeld is an amazing producer. Her colleagues at Novel, I mean, they know what they're doing. And she really helped bring this story to life. I'm forever grateful to iHeart Podcast because they saw the value and they allowed us to help other women too, and men, but really other women. And that's a unique spin in a true crime podcast.
Yeah. I got to tell you, I was with iHeart in the days when Robert Pittman had this big meeting with all the radio stations, and he says, "I'm introducing to you something called iHeart Radio." Nobody in the world knew what it was, but this man's vision and what we did as a company, and then you get the opportunity to do this. I mean, the journey to be in this moment of now, my God, it has been so incredible for people like yourself to have a voice.
Just to be on your show. Okay, can we talk about that? I am now on a national radio show talking about domestic violence, talking about the girlfriends, talking about, all these projects. I mean, it's amazing to me, and I pinch myself every day. So none of it is lost on me on the vision that was had way back when.
So what didn't make it to this season of the podcast? And the reason why is because, like I said, I'm an editor. I know what stays, what goes, what has to, what has the impact and stuff. But you guys had to have had those microphones always going at the same time. What didn't make it that you kind of sit back going, maybe we should have done that?
I don't think there's anything we should have done we didn't do, okay. But we did leave out some of the very gruesome details. It was a really bad freaking story. Like it was just fucked up.
Yep.
I don't, it's something I never wish on anyone, how that Jane Doe's life ended and how her life was lived. I mean, she just had not a chance at a very young age. And so, we left out some of the information about, I don't know, some of the horrors because it didn't serve her well. I want her to be remembered as this independent, fierce woman who, and she was incredibly fierce, incredibly talented in a different way that just she didn't get to shine that light on herself because of dysfunction in family and how she was raised.
Why do I feel like she's alive in you right now? I really do. I believe in spirit guides and spirit keepers.
You know, God, I love you. I got to tell you, she's with me, and so is Gail. Yep. And I get signs all the time from the two of them, and that sounds crazy, but they are very much alive, and I will do everything I can to continue to be a voice for those two women. They were, really special.
You talked about that even though that in the next season you guys are going to be doing something differently, but the thing is though, the collection that you have here with the whining and the dining and the laughs and the to sit there and interrogate each other to the point where you're getting answers that you wouldn't get if you were in a supermarket. But I mean, is this going to continue somehow, some way in your own personal lives? Are you still going to remain that close?
Oh my gosh, of course. Well, first of all, we all love wine.
Yeah.
And right. So yeah, Anna is with Novel, the producer. She lives in London, and she's actually been to my home, and I live kind of like on a farm here outside of New Orleans. She's also been to my home in Las Vegas and my mother's home in Las Vegas. Because I tether my time. And I can't imagine that we're breaking up. We will be friends for life. And Alayne, I just talked to her a couple weeks ago. She's doing great. She's enjoying her grandson and working hard. And so Mindy and I keep in touch. So all of us are connected. Mm-hmm. And I cannot imagine that we won't stay connected. And I am so honored and privileged to have the new friends that I've made through who I still will call on your show Jane Doe. Mm-hmm. I talk to Jane Doe's aunt quite frequently, and she's an amazing woman, and I consider her today a dear friend.
All right, you said something that caught my attention big time. You said you live out on that farm, and because I live in a forest, and these trees are my life, so I have to really step deeper into this connection that you've got with the universe. Because if you're out there on that farm, I've always learned and truly believe that the mushrooms that live beneath the surface are the communicators, and they carry messages. Now I know why you've been called to this, because your land is what's speaking to you.
And we may have some mushrooms on this property.
Oh, I bet you do. You have to go into the soil because that's how trees live. That's how they communicate with each other, is through the mushrooms.
You are so right. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. I could go on and on about that. But yeah, we're very connected to the universe and nature and beyond on this property. And you feel it when you walk in. People don't ever want to leave our home.
Yep.
It's a fabulous environment, I'm sure, like yours.
Well, yeah, there's just something here, and that's why if I ever win the lottery, I'm going to buy every house in this area, tear them down, and turn this into a writer's paradise. I want creative people to come here to experience the earth.
I love that. Do you have animals like I do?
I've got the deer. Oh my God, I love my deer. I even love every snake that I see out there. And yesterday I had turtles having sex in my front yard. I love that stuff.
Oh my God, I've seen turtles but not having sex.
Oh
but
my God, it's so funny.
Oh my God, I hope they don't break their shell. But we have a shitload of animals. So I've got 3 horses. We've got a pet pig. We've got some goats. We've got a lot of ducks. Way too many chickens. And so. We're enjoying it, and I'm looking for a donkey right now. I really want
a donkey.
Yeah, wouldn't that be so fun? Yeah, I love how they talk. Yeah.
They do talk, and the thing is, though, is that you've got to become the listener so that they have something to talk to.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, just have the 4 of you girls been together on your farm?
Not all at the same time.
Okay.
And you know what? You're right. I need to do that. I need to host a girlfriend's event on the farm. I have enough bedrooms and enough. Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Maybe you should join us. Come down and facilitate some conversation, drink some wine. I don't know. Yeah. That'd be great.
I'll be out there looking at the worms. Trust me. I'll look at the worms. Yeah. I'll look at the blades of grass. I'll be studying everything that's on that farm.
And you can appreciate the snakes because I'm scared shitless of them. So you can have that honor.
No, I love me some snakes. You got to come back to this show anytime, Carole. The door is always going to be open for you.
Oh, you are so kind. Thank you. Be careful what you offer. I might just take you up on that. And I can't thank you enough for having me on and for, highlighting the girlfriends, because we're proud of the work. And Our Lost Sister season 2 with the 5 episodes is just another wonderful story that's tragic but heartwarming all at the same time.
Wow. You be brilliant today, okay?
All right. You too. Thank you. All right.
Later,
Thanks.
Arrow.